Your journey has been an interesting one up to here. You've questioned so much more than those around you. You've even questioned yourself as to how you could have grown into these thoughts. Am I crazy? When did I begin to think differently? Why do people in general appear so limited in their thought process? Rest assured, you are not alone. The world is slowly waking up to what you already know inside, yet can't quite verbalize. Welcome to the Spiritual Dope Podcast, the show that answers the questions you never even knew to ask, but needed the answers to. Questions about you, this world, the people in it. Most importantly, how do I proceed now moving forward? We don't claim to have all the answers, but we sure do love living in the question. Time for another hit of Spiritual Dope with your host, Brandon Henley. Let's get right into today's episode.
Hey there, Spiritual Dope. I'm on here today with Lisa S. Johnson. She is coming here to us by way of a guest you may or may not recall from the beginning here. With Paresh Shaw. That's how you and I connected, Lisa. And Lisa, she's got a couple of really awesome books, guitar books that she's put on. We'll let her talk a little bit about those too here in a second. And she also does a weekly Kundalini course on Instagram under Cosmic 108. But Lisa, why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are and what made you feel like Spiritual Dope was the place for you to be right now?
Well, hey, Brandon, thank you so much for having me on as a guest today. I really appreciate it. And it was really cool that we did meet through Paresh, who I know through Kundalini Yoga. We went through Kundalini Yoga training together. And he's also a rock and roller. So it was interesting that he and I really connected in class before we even know we were both into rock and roll. So that's how things weave together. And that brought me to you, Spiritual Dope, which I love that name because it's kind of telling of the times and connecting to the youth generation, really, because to say spiritual dope kind of, gets a younger person interested. And we can talk about spirituality and things that are going on in the world in more of a hipper way. So it's really fun to take part in that. My background is that I come from a musical family in Northern Canada where I grew up until I was 23. And I was born in California, though. So I have my California roots until age 7. And then lived in Canada, then moved to Florida and ended up going to college for photography, which led me to a job for 10 years with the Eastman Kodak Company. And I ended up living in Memphis, Tennessee, and going to the Unity Church. And my father, growing up, told me I was not allowed to date musicians. And so he was a musician, and still is. And so I was at the Unity Church picnic, and the guitar player from church asked me out on a date, and I accepted, and we started dating. So I called my dad and said, "Hey, Dad, I'm dating a musician. However, he is the guitar player at church, and he owns a vintage guitar store." And my dad, being a guitar player, said, "Hey, if he ever gets in a Gibson mandolin, I've always wanted one." And he's not a touring musician, so that doesn't matter. You can date him. So that was the beginning of my photographing guitars because my boyfriend then, Hank, said, I told him about this request of a vintage mandolin, and he got one in 2 weeks later. And I said, "How much? I want to buy that for my dad." And he said, "You can't afford it, but if you photograph some guitars for me I have to sell that I don't want to sell, I'll trade you for the mandolin." So that was it. And I photographed these amazing vintage guitars for him, and I fell in love with my photography for the first time. So I really was drawn into photographing guitars in a spiritual way because I was going to the Unity Church, which is a non-denominational church. And what attracted me to it was that they would always read a passage out of Chicken Soup for the Soul, Joseph Campbell, and they would relate it to a passage in the Bible. So it wasn't, like this indoctrinated, where I grew up in the Catholic Church. It was fun. And at the end, we'd always sing a song holding hands, the whole congregation. Let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me. And so that was the beginning of my spiritual journey. And at that point, I was probably 24, 25 age, and of course, my spiritual journey did begin when I grew up. I started in the Catholic Church. By the age of 14, I already realized that God was within me, that I didn't need to go to church to be with God. And that gave me a lot of peace, and I always felt God with me, and I've always prayed. But then when I found the Unity Church, I actually, because it was more of a spiritual feeling, and they had a bookstore there, and my first spiritual books that I bought was Wayne Dyer and Louise Hay and Shakti Gawain. And these books really, and the first really spiritual book that I read before that, even at 18, was Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And if you read Shakti Gawain's creative visualizations, basically it's the same concept. You are what you think. What you speak manifests into reality. And that was Napoleon Hill's whole premise. If you're going to be negative and talk negative all the time, that's what you're going to attract. And if you talk positive and think positive and visualize your goal, then that's what's going to manifest. And so this is how I've lived my life and manifested my life since I was 18 years old. So just to conclude, I went to college for photography, and I ended up moving to New York City, and I got this job with Kodak. So I was in New York and then Memphis, and I ended up shooting those guitars in Memphis, and then I got sent back to New York, and I thought, if I'm going to shoot guitars, I may as well shoot famous ones. So Les Paul played every Monday night at the Iridium Room in Manhattan, and I started going down there, and I eventually met him, and he let me photograph his guitar. So that was the first famous guitar I photographed. And then 12 years later, he ended up writing the foreword for my first book, 108 Rockstar Guitars. And then I ended up in a car crash in between all of this, and my neck got jacked after I moved to Las Vegas from New York City. And that led me to a chiropractor who told me that Bikram yoga would be really good for me. And so I started taking Bikram yoga classes, became a Bikram yoga teacher, studied yoga philosophy, read Autobiography of a Yogi, and it totally changed my life. And then almost 20 years later, I was introduced to Kundalini Yoga through the modern day priestess training that I took. I'm a modern day priestess as well. And we did Kundalini Yoga every day. So that's how I ended up in the Kundalini Cosmic 108 Saturday morning classes to share the yoga technology and the tools of yoga to help us, previously just in regular times, but now especially even more in these really trying times on the planet.
I love the story. I love the journey that you, I think the first time you date a musician, of course, is when, your dad says, no, don't do anything. And right there is, you're proving out a principle right out of Think and Grow Rich. Like whatever you focus on is what manifests, right? So what he was focused on for you was what manifested for you. So he played a part in that. And then the journey towards photography and photographing these guitars, right? And kind of just going for it, and just saying this is what kind of sets my soul on fire, and looking for ways to make that happen.
Exactly.
And that's so cool. Yeah. So thanks for the background, right? So what I like to start this off with is the idea that, hey, we're all spiritual beings, right? And that Source speaks to us right now, like Source is speaking through you, to me, to somebody on the other end that is listening to this podcast today. What's a message that can only be delivered through you to that person today?
Okay, well, I'm just going to go with what channels right through instantly. That's where you got to go. And so mine is be a channel. Be a channel. So ask your higher guides or whatever God is for you. Make me a channel of a higher will. This is how we receive the messages from the universe and from our guides and angels through our cosmic antenna, our auric field, which the arc line is a part of our bigger auric field. And so the arc line is the seventh body of consciousness that we have out of 10 light bodies of consciousness. The 3D body, the gross body, that's only one body. We have 7 additionals. So the arc line is the seventh body, and it's the way that we send and receive signals to each other that can be sent even over vast spaces of time, from one country or area or planet to another. And if it's important to keep your antenna clean and clear. If it's dirty, if it's got a lot of static in there, you can't send your signal and you can't receive signals. So that means I'm not communicating effectively, or I can't receive others' communications effectively. So this is one of the reasons why we do spiritual work, meditation, and movement, so that we can clean and clear all of our bodies, including that radar antenna, the arc line. So that is how I would channel something that no one else could receive from any other place other than through me, because I'm sending it through my arc line, through my channel to your listeners right now. And I often ask my guides, make me a channel of a higher will so that I can hear and see the unseen.
And I think that's fantastic. Open yourself up to be a channel to begin with. Say, make me your channel. Allow for me to be a channel. I've been trying to do this whole thing myself this entire time. What else can I let flow through me?
Mm-hmm.
What's a way that we can clear our channel? My channel's a mess. So how do I clean my channel?
It's easier than you think. I mean, people say, I can't meditate. Oh, I can never meditate. Okay, so yes, everyone can meditate and everyone can clear their channel. And here's how. First of all, you can sit, and you have to make meditation super simple and easy, especially in the beginning. And while you're meditating, you're cleaning your arc line. Okay, so this is the same answer for both things. So first of all, you sit, and you do an invocation to clear the space. Sage yourself, sage the room with Palo Santo or sage, what have you. Then you do an invocation, bringing in your guides and teachers. And then you do movement. So for example, one way to clear your arc line, your antenna, is inhaling and turning your head to the left and exhaling and turning your head to the right, because that's cleaning and clearing the space right in front of your face and to the left and to the right. And then if you tuck your chin into your chest and you rotate your head around in big neck circles, this is cleaning the arc line. You're going in a circle and it's cleaning exactly that area in your arc line and in your auric field. Then we use breath work in Kundalini. A lot of deep inhaling, exhaling, or breath of fire, pumping the belly in equal pumps. And this is distributing energy in the body and sending your Kundalini energy from the base of your spine all the way up to the top of your crown chakra. So all of your chakras are getting a burst of energy as you're pumping the belly in. So, and then you quiet the mind, you do the work, the movement opens the body and allows you to sit in meditation, be more calm. And still, even when you're super calm, you can close your eyes, look into your third eye center or your sixth chakra, and that stimulates, activates your pineal gland, which is your tool, your gland for extrasensory perceptions, and how we can learn to connect and with our subtle body with using extrasensory perception, so we can feel energy around us more. We can hear what someone is saying without them actually saying it. And all of this clears your arc line and your antenna. Just to very quickly, give you a summary of how you clear it. So it's through breath, movement, meditation.
That's great. So you got a twofer there, right? You can do a little bit of both at the same time. One thing that definitely has been hugely impactful for me this past year has definitely been the breath work, and it sounds like that's a big part of Kundalini Yoga. I'm going to couple that with Autobiography of a Yogi, right? Is Kundalini Yoga associated specifically with, like, how was it, the Self-Realization Foundation?
Yeah,
you said you went through the priestess training.
I did, yes. So Yogi Paramahansa Yogananda, he was a Kriya yogi. So that's what we do in Kundalini. We do Kriya Yoga. And that means that we do yoga postures from the 84 classic asanas. That asanas means yoga posture. We pull from there. And on top of that, we also always use mantra, meditation, mudras. We use our throat, to every class. We incorporate these aspects. And this is called Kriya Yoga. So guys like Guru Singh, who's been a longtime Kundalini teacher, he also comes from the lineage of Yogananda. And so do I. So I really kind of relate to him in that way. So we're doing Kriya Yoga, but the thing about Kundalini that makes it more advanced is that it's really teaching the science of yoga and yoga as a technology, as tools that we use for self-healing. First, we heal the self, then we can heal others. And we heal others through our energetic field. So as we amplify and expand our electromagnetic frequency through the movement and the meditation and the breath work and all that, we're expanding our electromagnetic field, and our auric field gets bigger and brighter and stronger and more radiant and more attractive to other people. And then it starts to just attract all the right people to you, and it expels all the negative stuff out. And then there's no room for any negative anymore. So even when the worst shit is flying around this planet right now, you can learn and use these tools to be able to stay calm in the midst of this chaos that we're in, and send your light out in every direction, super big and super powerful. And when we sit and meditate, especially on full moons and new moons, because these are the doors of the portals of the planets. When the planets line up, when the moon and the sun and the earth are lining up, and they're lining up with other stars that happen throughout the year, these create portals. We just had the big Lionsgate portal on August 8th. And this is a time when energy, frequency, and vibration funnels into the planet and upward levels our DNA and our electromagnetic frequency and our ESP and our overall consciousness on the planet. So right now, we're going through hell, but we're going through hell to get to heaven, because heaven's on the way. And it's on the way, and I know it is, because I study the yugas, and that's what Yogananda used to teach, the yugas. And his teacher, Sri Yukteswar, he's the one who wrote the book, The Science of Yoga, and he speaks all about the yugas. So we can get into that if you'd like. It's one of my favorite topics.
Well, yeah, I mean, we can absolutely get into that. I love the concept, and I think I remember, like, first of all, Autobiography of a Yogi. What a great book, right? Just a really great book, fun to read, and it's almost like being on that adventure with him as he kind of goes through his life. And then I think he did talk about it. Did he talk about yoga as a technology in there or not? Like, did he finish it up with that?
You know,
or is that just kind of like an outtake? Or is that you?
I don't remember him specifically saying yoga is a technology, but I bet he did, because Sri Yukteswar, he saw it, I'm sure, as a technology because of the chart of the yugas that he created. And I mean, they knew the science of yoga. So that's what it is.
It's not new to them.
No.
Right. It's not new to them. And by them, I mean, like, the whole Indian culture, and just like how
they were way more advanced than us.
100%. I mean, look, we're like crawling right now, and in terms of like our just, I think, general conscious capabilities. That's my opinion, right? Just kind of where we are in terms of civilization like that. That's really learned how to, I think you talked a little bit about harnessing your mind, right, and just really getting in there. So you also talk about these portals. Why don't you just hit on? I love Lionsgate, right? I love Lionsgate portal mostly because of the memes and the social media that come along with it, because it's very entertaining. But I think it also offers, like, through the entertainment, edutainment, right? Like, it still opens that up to somebody, even if they laugh at it or joke at, like, it becomes a seed somewhere, right?
Exactly.
So what tell us a little bit about more, right? If I was to, about Lionsgate, because I don't talk about that here.
Sure. Well, there is a star named Sirius. I'm sure you're aware of. Everybody knows about the star Sirius. It's also called the dog star, and it is the brightest star in the sky. It's the North Star. So the Sirius star in August, from July 26th through August 12th, the dog star begins to rise in the morning with our sun. So there's two suns in the sky. So you may have seen recently a lot of photos with two suns in the sky, and people are going, what's up? There's two suns. Well, this happens every year because the Sirius star is rising with the sun. So that is an alignment of Sirius, that is supposedly a planet where the Sirians come from. And that planet, Sirius, is aligned now with our sun, which is aligned with our Earth. So that is creating a shaft, a portal that's going straight through to the planet Earth, showering the planet Earth with that energy, frequency, and vibration. What was really extra special this year was that we had the new moon exactly in the path. So it was Sirius, Sun, Moon, Earth. So this was especially powerful. Just like on the new moon and the full moon, those are especially powerful times and portals to set intentions. So that's why we do new moon and full moon intention setting and clearings. So on top of this, the Sirius star is in alignment with Orion's belt that has 3 stars. And those 3 stars were aligned with the points of the 3 pyramids in Giza. So, I mean, why were the pyramids built? Who built the pyramids? Did they build them exactly to line up with the, Stargate, Orion? Was that how Sirius came in? And maybe people, or, whatever you want to call them, aliens, other types of beings came down and we're able to access planet Earth. Maybe that's how, when we send the shuttle off or spaceships off, it has to coincide and align with, the planets and things moving around in the sky. So it's the same thing. If another entity wants to come on a spaceship to Earth, maybe there has to be certain portals that it takes for them to come down. And maybe that's why the pyramids are pointing up to those 3 stars. So that's what happened on August 8th. So July 26th to August 12th, that is the portal opening and closing. So it begins just like you see, the moon slowly going from full moon to, new moon. We have that energy shift as well during that date. But August 8th is the apex of that alignment and the most powerful day. So that's why everyone does a ceremony on August 8th, but we really do the work from July 26th all the way through to August 12th to get that full, you could utilize the energy. This is what we have to use to upgrade our consciousness. We need to utilize these tools that are being given to us by God, really through the makeup of our cosmos. We need to utilize the tools, which we've forgotten to use because they've dumbed us down with freaking TV, with even Disneyland. I mean, it's the dumbing down of our society. I mean, they just finished, some state just passed the law that you don't have to be able to know math or read to pass your high school examination. Really? And there's no modesty anymore. Every album cover, every video you see, it's just people wearing hardly anything. It looks super hot and sexy. Hey, yeah, I get it. I see it too, but right. It's not serving our youth culture. They're growing up thinking, what do you want to be when you grow up? Oh, I want to be a rock star.
Yeah. Well, I always make that joke, my own joke anyways, about, it was like Tipper Gore and Al Gore back in the day, right? When they were trying to, kind of pull back some like Two Live Crew and all those other albums, but like, this isn't benefiting anybody. And then everybody's like, freedom of expression, man. And, but really it's, poisonous interjection, right? Injection of just kind of like this continued stereotype and why would we encourage that?
Well, it starts to encourage disrespect or kind of a lack of respect. It's today
self-respect even.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
Talk to any kids today about dating and how to date. I mean, it's dating online. They meet online, or and what do? They share pictures back and forth, and how many pictures and what kind of pictures, and languaging that goes on online, and just the music. I mean, last year, the best song of the year was like the most vulgar title ever. Like, I can't even think of what it is right now, but it's like really bad.
Was it that Cardi B song that was it like FAP or something like that? It was like, all right, no, yeah. I mean, it's interesting where that's I agree, right? It's kind of like when is that going to be enough? But anyways, look, it is what it is in that regard.
Well, but things are going to have to change. Things are going to have to change because
I think they are, right?
Breaking down the morality of our whole society. And hey, here comes my boxers. And you can see one of them there.
Good. Yep. But I just like you were saying earlier, do you see like kind of heaven on the horizon, right? Are you seeing a change and a shift in consciousness yourself?
I am, and I'm hopeful because even though things don't seem like they're elevating, I see a lot of things changing. I see a lot of people doing yoga. I mean, of course, I've been doing yoga and teaching yoga for 20 years now, and the yoga community is $1 billion, something like a $70 billion business. So there's a lot of people doing yoga, and even if they're not doing meditation, it's the precursor to meditation, because doing the movement of yoga, if you're going to a Ashtanga class or, Bikram yoga class or vinyasa of some kind, what have you, you're going through the motions, you're doing the physical aspect. Just know that that's only one aspect of doing yoga. Sure. But I think a lot of people are doing yoga, and that is helping them to find some sense of their body, feeling their body and feeling their extrasensory perceptions. And that over in time is going to lead people to self-inquiry. And that self-inquiry expands your consciousness. And we learn how to deal with ourselves and calm ourselves. And then we can learn to deal with the next person in our family, our brother, our sister, our spouse, whatever. We get to practice every day the tools of yoga, being patient and compassionate, and just with not only with other people, but with yourself. And that transcends to when you go to the grocery store and working with that person that's slow at the till and you're in a hurry and, trying to deal with the emotions and the irritation that you have, or watching the news and, seeing the world being polarized right now. And just learning how to look at it on a macro level, so you don't get all caught up in the details in the micro level in your world, and allow it to upset your world and upset your body, and upset your body to a point of discomfort and dis-ease and disease. And I think that's been happening on our planet for a long time. And we've got a disease on this planet right now. We're really diseased in more ways than one, being personified by a disease, COVID, right now. And we're polarized on that subject too. So
Sure.
Kundalini, these tools we're going to help us through all of that and get to the other side.
That's the cleaner.
Yeah.
The antenna cleaner.
That's it.
Right. And we'll get it all situated. You got to start somewhere. And I think that it's impressive to see just how fast yoga has taken into the U.S., right? It's been growing, I think, at a fairly rapid clip. Understanding, is my real low level understanding that I think it's only been in the States, since around 1900 or whenever Yogananda came over, give or take.
Yes,
right?
Correct. Yeah.
Now you tossed in, while you were talking about the Sirius star, you talked about the Syrians. Was that like, what are you saying there?
Well, there's no way that we are the only intelligent and living life in the entire cosmos, in the entire Milky Way galaxy, number one. And then there's something like 100 million, probably infinite number of galaxies. And then every galaxy has like 500 billion stars. I mean, there's just no way we're the only living. I mean, at one point, dinosaurs ruled the planet Earth. Reptiles that didn't speak English, that looked pretty freaking scary. So there could be, the Dracos, they say, is a species. They look like lizards or what have you, and they might just come down on the earth, and that would be kind of scary. They might eat people. We don't really know. Do I believe there are Pleiadians? Yeah, I do. I think that's a star, and I do think that there are living entities there. And why? Maybe they're the ones coming down here and doing this crop circles, because the crop circles are and I believe a phenomenon of a UFO where they've seen them. You've seen recordings of the little white balls that fly around, and suddenly in, very quick speed of lightning time, there's this amazing geometrical, perfectly mathematical structure that humans can't do. They've tried in the middle of the night to do it in the middle, and, there's no way. I mean, it's not as sophisticated, and they can tell the difference of the grass. Why they haven't been able to help us out a little bit more, I think because we have to help ourselves out of it, because otherwise how is our consciousness going to change? Like what? We're trying to get off this planet so we can just develop another planet and kill all the life on that planet too? Like, I think that we've shot down spacecraft. They need to be careful about how they make the approach. They have to get us to where we're more friendly and willing to accept them. I understand as well that there are races that are already living on the planet Earth, and they've been living in the middle of the Earth. And the Earth could be hollow. If you look at the toric field, the torus, it's a circular motion, and it's hollow in the middle, isn't it? So the energy can go around. Isn't there a hole at the top of Antarctica and the bottom of the Northwest Territories? The top and the bottom of the Earth.
I don't know, but now I feel like I should Google that stuff. At least, right?
Google this. Google Richard Byrd. Richard Byrd was a captain, and he was up in Antarctica time, and he went on a plane ride, and he got diverted, and he ended up somewhere in Shangri-La, and he wrote about it, and he was forbidden to talk about it while he was still in the army, and when he died, his journal revealed it. So there could be something in the center of the Earth, and there certainly are other intelligent beings in our galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, and in other galaxies beyond. Probably infinite number of planets with living beings.
For sure. No, I agree. I just wanted to make sure I caught that. And then another thing you talked about was outside of our gross body, right? Can you share a little bit more about that?
Sure. Okay, so the gross body, that's the three-dimensional body in which we live. It's our vessel. It's what we came into, we birthed into through the top of our head. They say we have the soft spot in your head. That's where your soul enters. That's called the Bindu Visarga. And when we meditate, we can connect with that, and it actually drips the nectar into the brain and through the body. And one of the things that the breath work does is it helps to hold that nectar in the throat chakra by pumping the energy up to the top of the crown. It keeps that energy here, and that helps you to heighten your awareness and your cosmic consciousness. We also have 10 bodies of light consciousness. So the first body is your soul. That's the soul body that comes in through you. It's the heart. It's what speaks to you. It's your inner voice, your soul body. Then you have 3 minds. There's the positive mind that weighs the positive things that are around you in the situation. So you have to weigh out, is this a good thing or is it a bad thing? So what tells you that it's a bad thing is the negative mind. So you have the positive mind telling you good things, the negative mind telling you beware, beware, danger, danger. And then the 4th body is your neutral mind, which is your 3rd eye, where it takes the positive and the negative aspects of any situation and weighs them within 9 seconds. Your 3rd eye, your 4th body, your neutral mind makes a decision. And it will make it, if you are clean and clear in your neutral mind through meditation, that's how you clean and clear it. You got to meditate. You can make an accurate decision within 9 seconds. Then the 5th body, that's your physical body. That's your 3D. Then you've got your 6th body, which this is going to be your breath, because you got to breathe. You got your pranic body, your life force. Then your seventh body, we have the arc line, your auric field. Then you have your radiant body. That's the 10th body. And you have the ninth body is the subtle body. And this is the one that helps you to give and receive with the subtle mind and the subtle body, without thinking or saying, without saying anything out loud. You can utilize your subtle energy. You can will your will for that person to move a little to the left so that I can see the guitar player on the stage better, right? You just like, you're driving down the road and somebody's going way too freaking slow. And you're just like, dude, to the right. And bam, there they go. Their flicker goes on and they move into the right-hand lane. This is willing your will through your subtle body and speaking that language with your antenna. It's all in unison. So when all of those 10 bodies are balanced, that means your chakras are going to be balanced too. And then there's an 11th body, and it's called parallel unisonness. And that's when all 10 bodies are aligned. And so my neutral mind, where I've made that decision that I want that guy to move to the right, works with my subtle body, willing my will and energetically telling him to move, and my arc line going beep, 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 radar, 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 out you go, move, bro, moves over. Or I go, I need to call Nancy. I just keep forgetting to call her. Then I look down at my phone a minute later, there's Nancy calling. Like, this is how it works when you're in the nod, which Paresh always is talking about. I'm in the nod. Right. He'll call me up with these stories, how something happened. And that's what that is, being in the flow, right, as you said earlier.
Right. Yeah, flow state. I think there's an ease with which all that can happen if you allow for it too, right? Sounds like too. I mean, once you've got these things in alignment and you allow for it to happen, it happens with ease. Mm-hmm. Actually, these things only happen, well, they don't only happen when you're in a state, an ease state, but they're less likely to happen when you're diseased, right? And so there's like this force, and there's a out of balance of, I guess, all these bodies. I never heard them all, so it was really great to hear that, and thanks for sharing that. But once you have these in alignment, things you begin to live in a state of ease, would be my guess.
Right. You don't have to do anything anymore. You don't have to do. You just set your intention, and the portals are open, and it flows in. So you don't have to struggle. I got to get this new job, or I have to, I need more of this or that or the next thing. It's just all comes flowing in divine timing. One of my favorite affirmations that I've been working with for the last couple of years, and it's so powerful. It kind of like preempts anything else. It's, I am aligned with the highest expression of my future now. So the now is bringing it into the now, into the present moment, right now, not yesterday, not today, not tomorrow. It's like right now. And I'm aligned with the highest expression of my future in all ways. So in my relationships, in my health, in my finances, in my career, I'm aligned with the highest expression for my future now. So what's best for my future is what I need to align with. And I'm telling myself I'm aligned with the highest expression. So I don't have to say other mantras and other affirmations that say, I now have the right amount of finances in my bank. I now have the perfect publisher. I now have, like, that's a good way for moon ceremonies and something to write it like that. And I've just eliminated the need to have to do that on a daily basis, because I used to say in the mirror, doing mirror meditations, I used to say in the mirror my long list of affirmations. And now all I just say, I'm aligned with the highest expression of my future now. And it's all done.
So, right, this is the kind of the end in mind right now. And if you've got that end in mind right now, then all those other sub things take care of themselves, right? You don't need that long list, because like you wouldn't have this one statement if the rest of these underneath of it weren't kind of already done and working.
Yeah. And I do that with the planet Earth too. I do say that our planet Earth is aligned with the highest expression of its future now. So that's my greatest prayer for the planet. And when you say that, things in the energetic field start to align. And that's what I love about sacred geometry. I actually brought a couple pieces. This is the flower of life. Most people know the flower of life.
Sure.
And this is the blueprint of creation. And within it are all the platonic solids and like the 64 tetrahedron. You can't really tell, but this actually, when you invert the flower of life into a 3-dimensional, it looks like this. There's 64 triangles, which there are here in here. And then, Metatron fits into the flower of life as well, which is all different. You can't really see the triangles, but they're in there. The tetrahedrons made up of 13 circle points. And so if you meditate on these, this is Metatron, a triangle pointing up and down. And then there's one that's pointing back or forward, depending if you're male or female. And this is your Metatron, or your Merkaba, the light spirit vehicle. So you asked about the 3D body. Our 3D body is our vehicle. It's how we move from A to B and move around the planet. But we can also move it when we're meditating and spiritually and go into the cosmos. And this is actually 3-dimensional and it spins. So this is only a 1-dimensional, but it actually is a 3-dimensional and it spins. So if we look at these sacred geometries, which can also be referred to as a yantra, which is a geometrical line shape. And if I meditate on it, if I look at it straight ahead, and then I close my eyes, I'm going to see the imprint of this flower of life in my mind's eye. And then that imprints it on to me on a cellular level. It all goes in, that imprintation goes into me on a cellular level. All my cells get a burst of that light of the sacred geometry, whether it's the flower of life or the Shri yantra is my favorite one. It's the yantra for manifestation. And so this is how we get it into us on a cellular level. And this is what they've been doing with TV, manipulating us forever too.
Oh, for sure.
You know, with symbols and signs, and we see that and it goes into our consciousness, and then we get,
it's in there. It's in there. Yeah, yeah.
But we can rechange it. We can restructure it through sacred geometry and mantras.
Sacred geometry, mantras, meditation, taking your attention off of those things, right, that you've allowed in for so long, and realizing that they're already there, and like a garden, there's some weeding to do, right?
Well said.
Well, there's that one's there. You gotta. And it's still, sometimes just like in a garden, you feel like you got all the weeds out, but you come back with the next day, like I swear to God, I pulled that thing. Right? It's still
a
there.
Great analogy. I know. And then you get to practice. Oh, let me fix that, but that's the start of being aware and consciousness, because you become aware and conscious of it, and then you change it the next time. Just like you don't beat yourself up if you get into an argument with your partner, or yell at somebody. Then you got to go, oh, I really was kind of out of line there. Well, I'll get another opportunity to practice that, and the next time I'll do better. So you don't beat
100%.
yourself up.
That's in alignment with the 2 arrows in Buddhism, right? We talks about the first arrow is, it's already there. The second arrow is the one that you deliver yourself, right? We're like, oh, what kind of jerk was I? And you can eliminate it just by the example you just gave. So I think that's a great example. I wanted to go real quick back to two pieces here. First of all, I love your mantra / affirmation / prayer, because you pronounce it more like a command than a request. Is that intentional? Or is that just how you are with it?
I guess that's just how I am with it. I didn't notice that. I say it as more as a command. Well, the affirmation I definitely say as a command. Is that what you mean? I'm aligned with the highest expression of my future now.
Right.
Yeah,
now.
that is a command. Right. Yeah, that is absolutely a command.
I feel like if I'm not getting in line with that, I might actually get in trouble.
Yeah. So I'm telling the universe, hey.
Right.
Let's line up here.
Well, that's also in alignment with I don't know if you ever listened to or read Napoleon Hill's the Devil book. I forget what it is.
No.
So he's got one that was released post-mortem, and even to release it was just kind of don't do that. And basically he's talking to the devil and whatever, but and the devil's talking to him, like, how do you talk to like the universe? It's like, don't ask for it, you command it, you demand it, right? Like, that's yours by like, divine right and all this other stuff. So I was just curious kind of where the command part was coming from. Definitely picked
The
up on it.
command part also comes from my teaching with Bikram Chowdhury, because I studied with him for many years. He was my first yoga teacher, and a Bikram yoga class is very commanding. So you've got to get bodies to move in unison. You want everyone moving together and flowing together in a Bikram yoga class. And then it's really a moving meditation. Everyone's flowing together and it's beautiful and breathing together. And to get people to move together, you have to be really commanding. Arms over your head. Interlock your fingers, release your index fingers, thumbs crossed, no weight in your heels, hips forward, upper body back, no gap between biceps, arms, and ears. Inhale, full lungs, stretch up, hold it. And bend to your right hand side. Like, you have to talk like that to get them to freaking do it on time with you. Right. Then when it comes to Kundalini, we do mantra, and it's different. It's not commanding. It's very calming. And like, for example, like I loved your analogy about, planting the seeds and growing, because there's a meditation that I'm actually doing right now. We practice, I'm in my 4th level 2 training out of 5 modules. So I'll be a level 2 Kundalini training teacher soon. And they require us to do a 90-day meditation. So, it's a challenge. Every day you have to meditate, and it's a 30-minute meditation. It's not 3 minutes, 5 minutes, 11 minutes. It's 30 minutes that you have to sit and take out of your day. And it doesn't seem like very long, but sometimes it seems like a long time in the day, taking that 30 minutes out. Anyway, it's a commitment, and it gets you get to where you would miss doing a meditation if you didn't do it. So that's good, because you really want to meditate every day and twice a day if possible. But then you just get to where you're meditating all the time. You're driving, you're meditating. We can always be meditating in the background, because we do the mantra, and the mantra becomes like that, you get that song stuck in your head. That's what happens when you're doing a mantra every single day. And the one that I'm doing right now is a 3-part meditation for 90 minutes. There's a mudra involved where you interlock you put your both hands in Gyan mudra, which is the thumb and index finger touching, which is the seal of knowledge, the seal of consciousness. And you interlock them, which now makes sacred geometry, the Vesica Pisces. So I really love this part of having this as a sacred geometry mudra. Then there's 3 mantras. The first one is Bond Bond, and this one is invoking the divine mother, the spiritual mother, the Adi Shakti, the creator. And then we move into the second mantra, which is Dan Dan Ram Das Guru. And this one is all about making the impossible possible. It's called Crossing the Crisis. So the world's in crisis right now. So that's why I'm doing this meditation. So we're recreating with the Vesica Pisces. This is the symbol of creation, the Vesica Pisces. So we're creating a new world. So the second mantra is all about making the impossible become possible through miracles and believing in miracles. We see miracles every day. And the more I do this mantra, I'm seeing miracles happen right before my very eyes all the time. It's amazing. Okay. And then the third mantra is Har Hare Hari, which means planting the seed, watching the flow planting the seed of infinite creativity. Hari, Har Hare Hare is watching the flow of creativity. Har Hare Hari is manifesting that creativity. And Har Hare Hari Wahe Guru. Wahe Guru is, wow, I'm being taken from the darkness into the night, not light. That's what a guru is. Gu is the dark, ru is the light. So Wahe is, wow, I'm being taken from the dark into the light. Wahe Guru. And I'm watching the beautiful process of how everything is unfolding, from the seeding, the planting, to the flow of the growing of the creation, to the manifestation, and to the final harvest. So that's where we're at right now on the planet. And everybody that's meditating, everybody who's doing yoga, they're planting these seeds of a new world, not a new world order, bro, a new world of love and light and peace and truth and higher consciousness and compassion for each other, without any kind of division, just acceptance of each other, knowing the truth of what is right and what is wrong, so that we are in right relationship and doing right action for ourselves and for our planet and animal kingdom. And when we can find that balance, which I believe that we will, because I was talking earlier a little bit about Sri Yukteswar, and he wrote the cycles of consciousness. We have what's called the yugas, and it takes a 26,000-year cycle for a full yuga that goes from the Iron Age, Silver Age, the Bronze Age, and the Golden Age. And that's the Age of Enlightenment. And so we have come out of the Kali Age and have entered into the Bronze Age, which is the Dwapara Yuga. And that's where we are right now. And we are in the ascending part of that. So the yugas have a 13,000-year ascending cycle and a 13,000-year descending cycle. So it takes 26,000 years. So we're on the ascending. We've come out of the dark ages. We've come out of a really dense, low-level consciousness area. And now we're only going to go up now. But like a friend of mine says, Ganja Sufi, he's someone you might want to interview sometime. Ganja Sufi, he's cool. He's a recording artist. You can check out. I'll send you a link to something of his.
100%.
He says you got to go through hell to get to heaven. So
for sure, right?
We're in hell right now, but on our way to heaven.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that we're in an accelerated state. So I'm gonna plug you real quick here. Cosmic 108 on Instagram. Sounds like she might know her stuff a little bit on some yoga and some of the background and sacred geometry. So I know that's something I wanted to get more into with you, but I don't think we're going to have time for that. But I do want to call out the fact that I believe you got some sacred geometry intertwined on some of your book covers, if I'm not mistaken, and you want to toss out,
Sure.
What is it about Cosmic 108? And let's share a little bit about the books so that we can have people go check them out.
So I have two books. The first one came out called 108 Rockstar Guitars. And when you first look at the cover, it doesn't have a guitar on the cover. It has motifs of guitars on it, and like guitar headstocks and guitar bodies. But it's all formed in the shape of a lotus flower, and it's all intertwined with the number 108, which totals 9 in numerology, 1 + 0 + 8. So there are 9 guitar headstocks that go around the flower petals and around the circumference of the book. And when you first open up the book, the Sri Yantra sacred geometry artwork is inside of it. And it asks the question, why 108? And then I get to infuse the spiritual cosmic message of the number 108 in yoga philosophy, because music is spiritual. Music can take you to nirvana. So I wanted to invoke that cosmic philosophy of 108 into the book. So that's 108 Rockstar Guitars. And now on September 28th this year, my new book called Immortal Axes will be coming out. And the cover is similar. It's no guitar on the cover, but there's a skull that has the Vesica Pisces sacred geometry in its forehead, in the third eye. And his eyes are made up of the diamond inlay headstock on a Gibson guitar. And that's going around in his eyes, and his nose is an upside down flying V. And then he's surrounded by little guitar bodies with gold. They're all inlaid in gold. It sparkles, it's very sparkly. And it's called Immortal Axes, because when a musician makes music, he makes it on that wire and wood. And that memory of that work is embedded in that wire and wood. And when the artist passes on, the guitar still is holding the notes and holding that music within it. And so that's immortalizing the song, immortalizing that artist, just like the song itself, when it's recorded, immortalizes the artist. So there are about 47 artists in this book that have passed away. There's 157 artists featured in this book, including David Gilmour's $4 million Black Strat that just sold, and Rory Gallagher's Fender, super famous Fender. Pete Townsend's number 9 Les Paul is in this book. Peter Frampton wrote the foreword, and Susie Quattro wrote the afterword. So I'm very, very happy to present this book to the world, and hope that people enjoy it as much as I, and have as much fun with as I had photographing it, traveling around the world.
So one thing, for the people that are listening and don't get the chance to see the pictures and the artwork. I mean, the artwork's amazing on these covers, and I love. We were talking a little bit before. I'd seen pictures, but I hadn't seen it in somebody's hands. I hadn't seen the book in somebody's hands. The book is large. What are the dimensions on it?
So 108 Rockstar guitars weighs about 9 pounds. And it's, let's see, 11 inches by 13. It's a,
so
it's
cool.
a, and then the second book is a square book. It's 11 and a quarter, I think, by 11 and a quarter.
Nice.
The Rockstar Guitars one is a red leatherette, pressed leatherette. And this Immortal Axes is a black cover with gold and silver sparkling motifs on it, of guitar motifs on it.
Yeah, I think the artwork is so cool, and I think anybody into guitars, classic rock and roll, this space would be, this would be such. I'm not even trying to sell anything. This would be like such a cool gift, something so cool. So I love what you've done with it. Give me like one story of like maybe the most challenging guitar to get to, or like the one that you felt like was like the pinnacle for you.
Yeah, well, one of them I have to say is Joan Jett, because she's a woman in rock, and she rocks really hard, and she's paved the way for a lot of women in music. Before even her, though, was Suzi Quatro. Suzi Quatro actually paved the way for Joan Jett, and Joan will say that. It was really hard to get to Joan. She's not super happy to have a lot of photographers around, and so I think that was one of the issues that I kept requesting, and they don't really have photographers around, and I usually shoot before or after shows. So I finally was getting finished with this book, and I really wanted Joan, and I'd asked several times, because for me she's the most important woman to have in the book, and as a female artist, because she influenced so many. And of course Suzi Quatro, she wrote the afterword for the book, so I'm just, was so important to me, and so amazing that she did that. But finally, I was rounding up, I was finishing the book, and I really wanted Joan, and I just could not have Joan. And so I finally realized, I've worked with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for so many photo shoots, and I was there doing a shoot. I think it was before the David Gilmour shoot. Anyway, it was one of the shoots. And I said, by chance, do you guys happen to have a Joan Jett guitar in the Rock Hall? And they said, well, yes, we do, actually. And so then I realized, I'm just going to find out if they'll let me photograph the guitar. They don't have to be here. It's not before or after a show. And so we went back to them and said, hey, how about just let Lisa photograph the guitar that's at the Rock Hall, and she'll do the rest. She'll make all the arrangements. And they said yes. So
that's great. That's great. That's very cool. I just want to give the idea too that this is a kind of like a life that you followed your bliss kind of thing, right? You followed your kind of journey, you followed your heart, and this production is a display of that.
Yeah, it wasn't easy. I have insecurities just like anyone else, and when you're putting your neck out there for yourself, like, I'm a photographer and this is my work, you're putting your soul out on the line. You're showing your photos, and it's something that you like. It may not be that somebody else likes, so you get a lot of no's. I've had to hear no a lot. And then I've had a lot of yeses, and I've had way more yeses than I've had no's. And it was because of perseverance and just not taking no for an answer. I mean, had to ask Billy Gibbons, people many, many times, until I finally met him under the stage at a Rolling Stones concert and said, hey, Billy, I've been trying to get through to you, and then the next time I requested, I got a yes. So, and then just saying it, like, I don't have Mark Knopfler yet, and he's one of my all-time favorite guitar players in the world, ever, ever, ever. And I'm not going to give up on Mark, even though they've told me no. They've said no many times.
What's he holding out for? What's he holding out for? So I think the story is great. I love what you've done. I really want to say thanks for stopping on today. I do have one more question for you today. We'll play a little bit of spiritual speed dating. I figure somebody's on here and they're looking for their next like spiritual date, and you could be it.
Okay.
So, Bachelorette number one. This is a good one. I think it fits. What's the relationship between science and religion?
It's getting closer and closer. I think that CERN has certainly helped the science experiments they've been doing at CERN, trying to find the God particle. I think that's been important, and I think that science is finally recognizing they ain't never going to find it, because you can't see that with your eyes. That's something you have to feel. And science is finally starting to understand that. And I know that they are, because even quite a few years ago, they put Ken Wilber on the cover of Science and Spirituality magazine, I think it was. And he's ahead. You know, if you haven't studied Ken Wilber, he's someone really interesting. And I learned a lot from him. And now that's correlating with the Kundalini stuff.
Of his somewhere.
So, I mean,
I'm supposed to. Yeah, I know. He's on the list.
Okay.
Right? He's on my list, but yes. Yeah.
Listen to the CD series called Cosmic Consciousness, Cosmic with a K. That's all you need to do. Just get that series. I think you can download it on iTunes now, or Cosmic Consciousness, Ken Wilber. It's one of the most important things you could listen to. And there you'll see science meets spirituality and what he talks about. And you can watch Sri Yukteswar's book, The Science of Yoga, and that is bringing science and spirituality together. Check out what CERN is doing. And of course, CERN has gotten really weird. So there's some strange stuff going on at CERN too. But
well, when you're over there creating tiny black holes, something's going to happen.
I suppose. Yeah. I think a lot of stuff has happened over there.
Oh, man. Wouldn't it be cool? Wouldn't it be cool to know more? Well, Lisa, it's so much fun. Where should I send everybody to go check out your books?
Okay. So to check out the books, go to my Instagram at LSJ, for Lisa S. Johnson, at LSJ Rock Photos. LSJ Rock Photos is where you'll find me on Instagram. And there's a link there, my link tree, that'll lead you to both of my books. And for Cosmic 108, for yoga classes, come and rock your Kundalini with me every Saturday from 10 to 11 a.m. PST. That's Los Angeles time. And it's just a 1 hour long class from 10 to 11. And we get into all these subjects that we've been talking about. And we do a Kriya for about 30 minutes, and we do meditation. And it opens with some context around what the class is about and what the meditation will be about. And then we go right into it. And we have a gong bath or sound bath afterwards, because the gong is very important. It's the most powerful meditation. It clears the subconscious mind. So we do a gong bath at the end of every class. So come and rock your Kundalini with me at Cosmic 108. It's Cosmic_108.
And you have made how many Saturdays in a row?
Since COVID started. So we're getting a year and a half now, isn't it? You know,
that's pretty cool, right?
We started in February or March of last year. So March, April, May, June, July, August. Yeah. So it's a year and 5 months every single Saturday. I've only had one class covered for me by one other teacher, and that would be our friend Paresh. He jumped in when I needed him to come and teach a class, and he's very fun. Have you taken his class?
I've taken a couple of his like Zoom classes. Yes.
Yeah. He's very funny. He's fun, and he's ahead. You know, he really with that Harvard education, his brain, like, you know.
For sure. Lisa, this has been so much fun. I'm so glad that we finally got the chance to put this together, found the time, and again, I think the artwork's amazing. The photography is fantastic. I love the size of them, right? Your books, and just doing the Kundalini. I think of bringing that out to the world and letting people do that with you. I mean, that's just, you know, on the ascent, as you said, you're helping us all up that path.
I'm here to serve. That's what we're here to do on the planet. Be creative, and follow your heart, listen to your heart, and be creative, and then everything falls into place. So, and being in service with your creativity. So that's what I'm trying to do, bringing joy into people's lives just because they get to see their favorite guitar up close.
Really hope you enjoyed this episode of the Spiritual Dope Podcast. Stay connected with us directly through spiritualdope.co. You can also join the discussion on Facebook, Spiritual Dope, and Instagram at spiritual_dope. If you would like to speak with us, send us an email through brandon@spiritualdope.co. And as always, thank you for cultivating your mindset and creating a better reality. This concludes the most thought-provoking part of your day. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay fully up to date. Until next time, be kind to yourself and trust your intuition.